Nicaragua, and you looked at Marjorie Kemp and read about the Mudman and wondered whether his Tuesdays were also blue. When it was make-believe ballroom time and we walked somewhere between our beliefs and our bodies, becoming one and none, where, like a ghost, is the curtain in the white light of the morning. Here's the cover. One more cover. This is For Virginia by Jim Carroll. You don't know what it's like at the strangest times, your face pouncing into my mind like a wounded cheetah, gripping your memory so tightly over years, it leaves blood on my hands as on your lips. It comes and goes, might be days or months, and with only the vaguest idea of places you are, have been, the way your name attaches itself to me like lipstick on airplanes, steep hills in San Francisco, First Street in the rain, the ache that comes in gravelers of longing. I wanted to tell you, because you should know, that my greatest nights in California are the nights I spent inside Virginia. Sorry. A few more originals. Too many more. This is Sometimes I Look Just Like You. Not exactly original, inspired by the Bob Mould song. Sometimes the lights go out when I walk under them, and everything is dark except for longing. Sometimes I look just like you, and other times I look right past you. One more, first of several untitled poems. When you enter my thoughts, when I enter you, simultaneously, the darkness and the terror are only French revolutions we would ignore. The penultimate cover from my favorite poets. My favorite Velvet Underground associated poet, even more so than you read. This is from Eastwood Velvet by Gerard Malacca. This is Love Poem, tentative title. We are simply rumors of what could have been, a walk by the seashore at sunset, a silence to fill. At daybreak, there are only victims. Moving right along. Untitled number 2. I see you everywhere I've never been, wearing black and waiting for execution. Untitled number 3. I woke up last night hearing Que Sera Sera, Doris Day at the TV, you on the sofa, the moon over Marrakesh, and Jimmy Stewart nowhere to be found. Untitled number 4. The world is empty and I'm a moviegoer, blank screens, mid juleps in winter. I think I've managed to get this in sync with your slide. Sorry. Couple of haikus now. Untitled. First one. When I'm in LA, I even think Tom Petty is profound. Haiku number 2. Come as you are, and we'll come everywhere. And haiku number 3. I want the demon rum the way I want you, naked, shrouded, scared. And actually, I lied, one last haiku. This is haiku Cecily Tynan. Weather forecast. You are so fucking hot. This one is called West hyphen turns. There was a dirty dot thing. It's about the truth. Fucking slums, fucking bums, funeral homes with clocks of ash. Beyond Rangoon lies the cool negligee that pales the slipcover sun, like a moment wasted, awake alive, where never we are coming to the red eye, the clockwork New York. Don't have any Philadelphia or LA poems here. I don't know why the New York uses this. This is part one of a discontinued by me song cycle named after, inspired by Billie Holiday's song for Distingué Lovers, which was going to be called Songs for Distance Lovers. And the distance I made was to the first poem, which is the first track, which is day in, day out. Wasted nights without a memory of where the hours went. 7 years of endless, sunless summer. Still the work continues, making her warped smile a sonata or a sunset or whatever pays the rent. Departures, the oncoming train in the wake of a mind's eye, making Sterling staring, how to be a canary in a coal mine economy. Checking the set list. This one's called Mystery of Love. Why does the moon falling on the dead sycamores make devil outlines of two lovers walking down Wyndham Hollow without a care for their own well-being or anyone else's? This one's called Bear. Woolly-headed utopianism coming home for the winter, a belief in the real, one real, an autonomous West will bury the fur. This one was topical 6 years ago, and is probably still topical because it's about the Beatles anthology. This is called Dream Server. Love is as close as mortals come to being in a supergroup. Outside, the fallen stars are humping like seals, the lights on low and the prayer on the FM. If it takes forever, I will wait for you. And we wait for anthologies, the love of others knowing we are love. We've experimented with Vishnu, our melodies, ourselves, and now we can return home to saturate ourselves among the electric colors. Even when we're wrong, we're wrong. Am I cut off the whole thing? Okay. Check. Okay. Less rock and roll fantasy. This one's, I'm sure there are more. So this one's my last cover, exactly. This is from Lynn Crosby's Queen Rat New and Selected Poems. She's Canadian, folks. This one is James Joyce Pub, 1996. Begins with the epigram, a girl lovable in the extreme, from Ulysses. And we met there at 8 or so. Elizabeth's never on time, and her body blooms in black with slits, some smooth white showing, and her dark lips curl. You think of the edges of muscles we drowned in lime and the cabbage leaf green of this place. She says the shamrocks catch in her throat with the harp goes the tenor. Oh, sweetheart. We find an abandoned grocery cart and push Michael fast and let go. Oh, tragic, dying looking, his ankle twisted, not letting him go, but her eyes meeting mine like two big poppies, shadows, I suppose, of nights. You wear a clean shift and powder, and there is some story her beauty's unfolding like petals and rotten things like swallowing the ring she gave back, of course, and cleaned like opium whites, your bones, though you're sick and your hair a bit loose from tumbling. Through nights with her, they're lovely. Something goes through me, all like needles. She carves her hand with a knife before she leaves, and I'm thinking of her on the sea, her cat o' nine tails, I'm certain, in a carpet bag. I've cut myself, and she presses her hand to mine. Our blood flowers, tulips, are we sisters? Then will you remember her? Away in red sand, sun kisses her shoulders, and moonlight blue, her legs in the salt water of lime sea. And yes, I said, yes, I will, yes. Wish I were that. Okay, 2 more. Next to last. This one was published in an LA-based literary magazine called Roubaud that I wish still existed, but something tells me it doesn't. This one is called Memories and Batteries. I've never been to Renfrew Street, though it seems like everyone's been there. On Christmas, we get what's coming to us. Maybe this year it's atrophy. I was dressed to the nines like a cat of many colors, and she was an hourglass figure until the clock struck 13. I want a watch that contains no sand, no smut, no hand, no nut, I want a love so pure you could resurrect Percy's sledge, and the wind howls inwards like a wolf with a duty. My final poem, inspired by Robert Greeley, the Beatles. This is Julia. Something so pure between the Beatles' Julia and a lover of yesterdays. Something archetypal between a Western dream and a map of Seattle. I've dreamed of Seattle, loved a woman named Julia. So there. So there.
Thanks a lot. That was great. And now I got another voice looking real tender right now. Who's going to read some of her own stuff. This next person who's going to read is what they call a reluctant poet. She has the misfortune of writing me emails. And I take them and turn them into poems and attribute them to her. Come on up, Joanne, and share some of your emails with me.
So see, that doesn't make you a poet. It makes you somebody who writes emails. That somebody sticks titles to. No, you know what? Turn that down. Turn the volume down. You hear me? No.
You hold it real close. It's real close to your mouth. Real close.
That's when you spit on it. I hate that.
It's not close to this one.
It's really cool. I do writing emails, and then when they started showing up with titles on top of them, I got more tentative about writing to them. And then I got really nervous when his book was published. He was generous enough to put one of those in his book. And that's really neat for somebody who doesn't consider themselves a poet. But the thing of it is, my name's spelled wrong.
Hey, Gus isn't perfect.
Not even close.
The irony of things, there's an E on the end of my first name. This poem's called Ladylike. Diva said, "Thank you. That's the only card I got this year. I was starting to feel like the unpopular girl in the last row, in the last seat, in group 3, you know, where they put all the dolts. And every Valentine's Day, she walks home with one card, which she stole from the girl in the next row, and erased the name on the envelope and wrote in her own." That got published. This is called Disappearing Act. I know you missed me. I know I usually tell you before I disappear, but it all got past me this time. I decided pre-disappearance rituals make me too anxious. You know, say goodbye in case the plane crashes, let people know where they can find you in case of an emergency. So I approached this one as if I were leaving for the supermarket. And guess what? The plane didn't crash, there were no emergencies, and the sun rose and set on schedule. This is called Invitation. You have to keep Saturday, October 7th open. I'm having a big-ass 50th birthday party that night. There'll be food, singing, dancing, screaming, and fornication. Or maybe just Kool-Aid, cookies, and basket weaving. I haven't decided yet. Let's just stick with difficult. Directions. Diva said, "So it's directions you want?" It just so happens that I'm in the process of putting together The best fucking directions you've ever had in your life. These directions will be so good, you'll want to make them into a poem or something. These fucking directions are going to put the spring in your step, clarity in your life, and you'll wonder how you've gotten this far without them. I just have to figure out what they are first. This is called full disclosure. No, I don't insist on keeping those things private anymore. You're right. If you want to break out of the box and quiet the restlessness, you got to put yourself out there like a monster running through the streets, running naked through the streets of Happy Grace. This is called flashing. I understand that you are driven to write. I, on the other hand, walk amongst the 9-to-5ers, playing by the rules, even writing some of the rules, always wishing there was a way to break out of the box and not feel so damn restless. And now, I will switch, but you've been kind enough to endure, that my cousin always gets me to read his dead guy poems. So, in keeping with tradition, oh wait, there's one other one and then I'll read the dead guy poem and then I'm finished. This poem is called Captain of the Ship. And in Al's inimitable way, he writes things just because he has to. And then every once in a while, it just strikes somebody at their core. And this poem, if I can find it, where is it? You put a microphone in somebody's hand and they can't read it. I found it. Here it is. Okay. All right. This poem struck to the core of somebody who's very special to me, so I wanted to make sure I read this one tonight. It's called Captain of the Ship. Gus said when the wind whipped up, the seas got high and rough. The masts and snails took to bending, straining, almost ripping, breaking lifeboats all with dry, hot holes. The crew and passengers all panicked, blaming the captain for the storm, and the so sad sorry fact that none of them had learned to swim. And now, this is the dead guy poem. This is called John, and this is one of Al's good friends. Did they unleash you from those heavy phones you dragged around so long? These days, and I don't know how long it's been going on, they make you leave the gravesite before they put the box in the ground. At your funeral, with your family crying and your friends crying, all of them puzzled over just what made you park your car and die that morning, without so much as an eat me or fuck you before your last breath mixed with that day's air and disappeared forever. I never did see them put what was left of you in the dirt. So I don't know for sure they didn't pack your box back into the hearse and cart your dead ass off to New Mexico or Arizona. They could have dumped you into the Grand Canyon for all I know. Anyway, when I went back a few weeks later to have a cigarette and a drink with you for old time's sake, I couldn't find your grave. No freshly piled mound of dirt, no sentimental grave marker, not even a twinkling of the Virgin Mary hovering in the neighborhood, for Christ's sake. Nothing. I smoked a cigarette and saved the drink for later in my living room that night, as I thought about what might have become of you. Maybe they stuffed you into a tractor trailer and hauled you down the turnpike, then left you at a payphone just outside of Harrisburg without a quarter. Maybe they got their signals crossed and took you back to the seminary instead of leaving you at the cemetery. Maybe they took you bar hopping to watch you lay one more of your smooth lines on some unsuspecting babes. Maybe they took you to the United Nations to let you deliver your speech on the state of the universe to a planet filled with dead ears and hardened souls. Maybe they took you out for one last photo shoot of Route 413, abandoned farms, dilapidated fences, and rusting gas pumps. Maybe they brought you in for a custom installation job of ecclesiastical carpet for the Pope's new bathroom. Maybe they took you for a late sausage breakfast, patties, not links, poached eggs, not fried or scrambled, black coffee, not decaffeinated, and rye toast, not too well done. Maybe they took you to an adult entertainment center to explore every aspect of everything sexual and let you render final judgment. Maybe they sent you on a never-ending junket in one of your Volvos, or were they Volvas, in varying states of assemblage and disassemblage across America, across the heaven and hell of this planet, but returning always to the charcoal pit in Yardley. But then again, maybe they took you for one last visit with your grandmother to exchange stories and sentiments in Italian, German, and English, and you just couldn't tear yourself away.
You can't hear me? This is called agriculture. And it's for my first wife, whose name was Carol. Gus said he took a photographic portrait of the farmer's daughter standing in the crumbled, fine stone wall ruins of the one-room schoolhouse just across the road from where her father's parents farmed. A tender-faced, draped by the melancholy of her past and future history, in a solitary moment of peace before the storm. Called incremental pauses. Gus said he stopped to take a short breath. Gus said she stopped to take a short breath in the long hall of the endless crypt she built of rotting corpses, dust bowl eyes, and pallid limbs, kept all the laughing horses under tight-lipped rocking key, kept all the sunbeams, all the moon streaks, all the smiling stars, sealed in her deadly mourning chamber with her prayer book and her mea culpa beads. That's all a bit too down. This is called Discordant Dreams. Gus said the dreams were originally designed to comfort him in sleep, act as a freeze zone, flush bin for all his unthinkables, undoables, socially, mocks, mixed, adult, bookstore, pornographic, hard jail time ideas, all turn nightmares in a hairpin, in the blink of a one-eyed flamingo, in the flight of a wingless sparrow, in the eyes of Morgan, in the masturbating hands of John Paul Sartre, alone, palmless in the universe, cinder block gardens, cross-wire fences, stinking garbage can alleys, maggot-ridden after-dinner throwaways. Only was trying to discover the source, the very nature of their stink. Called Mounting Discoveries. Gus said he wore a blindfold, held his sudden breath, ejaculated, let it fly, took the netless trapeze swing trip above the gaping cabins, neath the stretched and tired canvas big top roof, entered into nightmare churches, screaming organs, incense breathing, black robed, red-eyed clerics, whining children, weeping women, banished men, dry humping stone Madonnas as their continued penance for their continued sin, bodies burning, the all-intrusive, ever-constant wail of rampant schizophrenia, the rotting body counter, beam men with erratic calculators, doing faulty sums, the cry of angels struck by horror. All the wheels turning, grinding, desperate spirits into dust. The red-nosed church maid and the red-nosed janitor smiling, red-nosed whiskey smiles, and Buddha laughing in the choir loft in quiet song. It's just the nature of the beast. This is called static guard. And this is about Kathy, my wife. Gus said she sprayed freely on her legs, her skirt, her pantyhose, on all her intimate apparel, mother, grandmother, radio, cordless phone, and every horny, over-anxious dude she ever met. This is called Chocolate Chip. Gus said she offered him her chocolate chip to eat in cookie form, asked him to keep the noise down while he chewed. The next one I'm going to read is called Love Martyr, and the significance of it was one of the first poems that I wrote in this very long series, and I sent it to a newspaper in Princeton, and they printed it, and they actually gave me money for it. Gus said for years you were lost to him. missing in some confused hubbub of facts and history. But one night in a dream, he stood on the porch, the smell of the rain still dripping from the trees, on that street where neither one had lived for years. But he could feel you somewhere, listening to music, brushing your hair, looking out a window that he couldn't find, waiting for him to appear. And that seemed quite enough just then. The smell of the rain dripping from the trees, the thought of you, the sense of you, somewhere, listening to quiet music, brushing your hair, looking for him. Whoops. I need one of the old Gus books. Dad, right above you. The fellow you see on the screen is a real good friend of mine. He fits into the category of dead guy poems. His real name was Dave Beecham. His nickname was Murphy, because every hospital that he ever went into, anything that could possibly go wrong with his body went wrong, and usually defied anything that medical science had any knowledge of. So this is called Death Sketches. Dear David, sketch for me the shape of your death and the accumulated ashes of your coffin. Drag your bony finger through its shadows, stirring up the dust bowls of ancient memories. You are no longer Murphy, spurting blood on the operating table from a punctured lung. Your chest no longer resembles an abused road atlas of scars, railroad track stitches, and bruises with clumps of dried blood marking every intersection. You have coded for the last time, and now reside in that vast universe of eternal silence. Scratch out for me the precise details and measurements of its configuration. One more from Murphy. Hey Murphy, take me on a guided tour of your new universe, through all its sundry mysterious rooms and dusty chambers. Are there bill collectors and credit agencies on the other side? Do you still get reruns of the original Star Trek with Channel 29? Are there Pizza Hut and 7-Eleven? Do angels deliver the morning cake along with coffee and Danish? Help me out here, pal, I'm at a loss. I may have to borrow your headphones to more carefully study the subtle nuances of your ongoing narrative. That's it. Okay, this one is real special. This is my cousin Denise on the screen. She passed away a couple of years ago from breast cancer. The good news is the way she did it was an inspiration for everybody who still lives. Okay, this is called Semper. Gus said he and Denise walked down the parkway to the road end, balls out. Cast iron, wrought bronze, copper turning green museum. where that he-man muscle guy sat holding all the world in one hand, his aching head and green balls in the other. This is called life support. This is one of those emails that I got. Gus said he just got an email from Joe Joy. Read like this. He's a Fox chick. Just off the pad. It's bad. Does recognize people that can't communicate. Just mumble and thrashes. Tried to get the MRI done twice. Even with sedation, she doesn't stay still long enough for them to get pictures. Whispering in the room seems to agitate her.